Yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful.
2 down. Oh, they're all dead.
Hello and welcome to the very first video on the Duppy Connoisseur channel. In today's video we're going to focus on 5 tips that we hope will help you get your first win in Call of Duty Warzone. Tip number 1 is to land for your loadout, scavengers, recons and buy stations. I want to talk you through what I'm thinking when I'm going into land, what I'm looking for and what I'm ensuring that my landing zone has. By default I always want my landing zone to have the bare minimum of a scavenger contract and a buy station. But the first thing you want to do is bring up the map and have a look at the line the plane is taking and where the initial zone will be. You don't want to land somewhere that's too far out and put yourself at an early game disadvantage. So if you take a look at the map that's on the screen now, this line for me instantly rules out prison, which is never a bad thing. You should also never rule out a drop just because it looks too far away. You can get there, you can just glide there, and chances are the further away you go, the less likely you will be to have people come with you, which when you're going for your first win is very important. So I'm just going to jump out the plane here and look at the map so I can take a few still shots and talk you through why I would or wouldn't land at those spots. So the first spot is prison and lower farmland, and as mentioned before, this is just too far out of zone and adds unnecessary pressure to yourself. We call this area Donut Town, and although it has a buy station, it hasn't got any feasible contracts in the area, so it's not really a worthwhile land. The next area would be Boneyard, and although it has a buy station, the only contracts in the area are bounties, which aren't ideal as it relies on having somebody in the area to kill. The next spot is the area surrounding Superstore, and if you're going for your first win, avoid this whole area. This whole area highlighted in red, avoid it. Lower down, now this looks like a good drop, it has a buy station and a scavenger, but if anyone lands above you, it's very hard to take on that fight. Finally, we found the perfect drop. It has a buy station, it has all 3 contract types, so you can pick and choose them, and it's away from the hot zones, giving you or your team the chance to really pull yourselves together before getting into the match. The next tip we've titled Privacy Perks, and these are the perks I think you need to help you get your first win in the easiest way possible. In front of you now there's a standard AR setup. I wouldn't actually ever use the SCAR, but that's just what's chosen for this video. What we're focusing on here are the perks. So the perks I've got selected here are Cold-Blooded, Ghost and Tune-Up. You can completely ignore the third one, that's personal choice. You can choose whichever one you'd want. The ones we're focused on here are Cold-Blooded and Ghost. So if we look at Cold-Blooded in a bit more detail, Cold-Blooded essentially takes you completely out of the thermal scope range. So if anyone's using a thermal scope on their sniper, they won't be able to see you. If anyone's using a recon drone and they activate the thermal on there, still they will not be able to see you. We're then going to look to partner this with the second perk, which is Ghost. Now Ghost is a very, very important perk when you're trying to get your first win. What Ghost will do is it will take you completely off the radar to UAVs or heartbeat sensors. For me and my team, we prioritise UAVs to try and unearth people where they may be hiding, and also we use heartbeat sensors constantly to check if there's anyone in the close area. If you use Ghost, you'll be completely taken off both of those things and effectively you'll disappear on the map. Finally, the third perk, as I mentioned earlier, you can choose whichever perk you like in here. Tune-Up was selected by default, but personally I always go for Amped because that gives you fast weapon switching, and if anyone's in a close proximity I can quickly get from my AR to my SMG. The third tip that we've got for you centres around what attachments you should be putting on your AR to maximise its potential. So the gun that's on the screen in front of you now is the GRA or the Growl 5.56, and this gun was unlockable in Season 2, and this is currently the ultimate meta gun. But as not everybody has it unlocked, I'm not going to focus on that gun today, but I am going to leave a link in the description to a video of how you can unlock the Growl. The reason that the GRA is the current meta gun is A, many of the top streamers such as Nick Merckx and Vicstar are using it, but also because you can really maximise the accuracy, range and control of the weapon. So what we're going to try and do is take a more starter weapon and try and also maximise accuracy, range and control to replicate what you'd be getting from the GRA. And the gun that we're going to choose to do that on today is the M4. So I'll come back to my loadout, I'm just going to select the M4 and I'm going to go into the gunsmith, and this is the weapon that we're going to modify again, to replicate the accuracy, range and control that you might get from it. The first attachment that we're going to look at is the muzzle, and the muzzle that we choose here is going to be pretty much the same on every weapon that we ever configure, and that's the monolithic suppressor. And the reason for that is it adds both accuracy and range to the weapon and partners perfectly with Ghost to keep you invisible on the map even when you're shooting. The next attachment is the barrel, and the barrel that we're going to choose here is the stock M6 Grenadier. Again, this adds accuracy and range, but it also adds control. So the little bit of control that you lost on the monolithic suppressor will be regained here. The next attachment, which I'm adding in just for the purpose of the video, is the tack laser. Again, this adds accuracy and control, but it also adds a little bit of mobility. We're not focusing on mobility, but it's always helpful to have that little bit extra where you can, and the tack laser gives you that. Next, we're going to go down to the underbarrel, and the underbarrel that we're choosing is the Ranger foregrip. Again, focusing on accuracy, range, and control, and this gives us all three of those in abundance. And the final attachment on this weapon is the ammunition. 60 round mag is preferable by most people, but personally I choose the 50 round mag just to give me that extra bit of control and again that extra bit of mobility. My final point on this class, just because I said that I don't personally use the tack laser, and the reason for that is I use my M4 as the gun where if I'm coming back in from the gulag in the late game and there's a loadout drop for me to land on, I want a perk that gives me maximum bullets. And fully loaded does that. You'll get maximum reserve ammo when you pick up this gun. Just take off the tack laser, add that in, you've got yourself a late game loadout. 4 is tactical movements, position first and then kills. So in this very short clip, me and my friend have just wiped out a team over on the far right hand side of us, and we know there's 2 teams left and we've identified that they're already fighting over in the far left. Now in this position a lot of people will run straight at them, but that's going to put us at a disadvantage. It's a very open end zone and there's 5 of them and only 2 of us. So what we do is we move behind an impenetrable rock closer to the storm and we slowly move forward into the zone, which gives us the advantage of always having cover, and ultimately it ends in us being able to see the opposition and taking them out. Tip number 5 is sniper swap, and what that means is swapping out your SMG for a sniper, and it's more of a personal preference that me and my squad like to do, but we found that it works out well. So the reason we do this is the advantage of a one-shot down or a one-shot kill if you're in solos. If you can take somebody out in one bullet, you're giving yourself a massive advantage, especially in squads when you're down in one of them, you can get them stuck in the storm. No matter where a game ends, you may find that a sniper is beneficial. For instance, if it's in a high-rise area such as downtown and you're down low, you've got the advantage of looking up and being able to snipe people. If it's in an open area like the gameplay that you're seeing now, you've got the advantage of being able to see across and seeing any enemies running in. The gameplay you're seeing on the screen now shows my point and how the sniper can be beneficial to you in the endgame.
Beautiful.
2 down. Oh, they're all dead.
There's people fighting there. Boneyard, boneyard.
Cool. Can we stay down here?
Yeah.
Yeah, you
need
can
to.
for now. When the next circle comes in, I'll try and tell you.
8 left, then. 8 left.
Yep.
I reckon
They're fighting. They're fighting to hell.
Oh shit!
Is that training zone? It's just out, innit?
Train.
I'm gonna be on it.
Yeah, it's just out.
I'm gonna be on this rock here.
You're behind the rocks over there. You stay narrow side. You've got that rock behind the tree.
There's a rock in front of us. We could lie down in front of.
That one's.
I think I saw wriggling.
Yeah. There's a geezer they're behind this wall. They're fighting still.
I'm getting to this, just to this tree. I can see one in the distance.
See one. You can see one on the right as well there. Next to the wall.
What? One down.
Get him.
2 down.
Get him.
What?
Oh, what?
Oh, I've got to reload.
Oh, I got to reload.
They're all fucking dead, son.
I don't know. I missed that shot
Let's go,
there.
boys!
Nice. J to the J's.
Great sniping, Dan.
No, it wasn't. The last one wasn't.
Don't worry, man.
He was right there. He missed.